Hi, I'm Jeet from Espressotec Sales and Service. Today I'm going to be doing a video on the Silvia V3. This is more of a beginner's video on operating the Silvia. We have numerous customers come into our showroom, contact us via email or talk to us on the phone and just need some beginner's tips, because on the market there's a lot of information and that's really overwhelming for new users. There's millions of videos, there's tons of articles, so this is just kind of a clear-cut beginner's guide on things to do and a couple of tips that we've known throughout the days. That way it'll help you clean your machine and keep it healthy for future use. So we have the Silvia right here. Water tanks out in the back. It's removable, but it's a little bit awkward, especially if it's underneath the countertop, so most people just fill it with a hose. One thing that I did want to mention that I didn't do in the other video is the fact that there's two hoses, as you'll see here. It's not mentioned in the owner's manuals that there's two hoses, but the reason is one of the hoses, the longer hose actually, is to actually for your water intake. It actually sucks up the water. The shorter hose, that's for your expansion valve. So for example, when you're back flushing, if the pressure's too high, it ejects that extra pressure water back into the water tank for you. So that covers that. Again, in the other video it goes over the switch operation, but just to touch on that here is that this is the power switch and I have it onto the on position, and since the light's off, it's ready to use for coffee. What I like to do is before making my shot, I like to run a bit of water, and what that does is it helps kind of flush the water in the boiler. If there's any kind of old coffee in the group head, that keeps that clean, just in case if the person using it before you wasn't the cleanest. So next thing to do for your cups, you want to preheat your cups, especially when you're making espresso. That's a big thing because the coffee is coming out at about, let's say, 80 degrees for 80 degrees, and when they hit your cups, which are at room temperature at 23 degrees, you're going to lose a lot of heat, about 10 to 15 degrees easily. So you want to preheat these cups. You can leave them on the Silvia. It does have a passive cup heater, but it takes quite a bit of time, so what we recommend to our customers is just to toss it in the microwave or just dispense some hot water into the cups. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now, just by opening up the steam wand and hitting the hot water button. Another cup. And I'll close off that steam wand. So while the cups are heating, it's coming up to temp, which will just help out with your espresso. You'd go ahead and you'd normally go and prep your coffee, grind your coffee, tap it. We already have it just pre-made here beforehand, just to save some time with the video. And you want to be filling it up pretty much at first over the portafilter handle. We level it flat. Once the portafilter is leveled flat, you give it a nice solid tap, and it should line up to about that mark. And that's pretty much what you'd be looking for. If you fill it past pretty much this height, it's not going to fit into your group head. So there is a maximum to the amount of coffee you can dose. So if you're not getting the quality that you want to grind a bit finer or tap a bit harder. So I'm going to go ahead and lock it into the group head. An easy way to do so is just placing it like this and then turning it till it slots in. Once it slots in, you just lock it to the center. You don't have to reef on it way too hard. You don't have to crank it all over. It just needs to make a good seal. The gaskets, if they're in good shape, it doesn't take much to create a nice solid seal. If you do notice water leaking out of there, a few years down the road, it's just your group gasket that needs to be changed out. So nothing too major, just a simple little gasket. So now that we have our coffee prepped and ready into our machine, and our machine's ready to use, we can go ahead and pour the shots. So I'm going to first dump out the excess water and pour the shots. Now some main things that you want to be looking for with the shots is that you want it to be coming out consistent, nice and slow. And again, everyone's shot length is kind of different. It's kind of slated to be about an ounce, ounce and a half. You don't want it to be running it too long or too short, but usually it's about an ounce, ounce and a half. So I'm going to go ahead and do the shots. And now that it's about an ounce and a half mark, I can cut it. So after you make your coffee, a cool little trick to do is take out your portafilter handle and flush some water. So what that's going to do for you is that any little bit of coffee stuck in the group head is going to be flushed out of its way. And of course, if you want to take it a step further, take a brush and you can clean out the group head. So those are some of the basic things that you want to be looking for when you're making a shot with the Silvia. Thanks for checking out our beginner's guide, and subscribe. That way you can be able to watch our videos first.